darkness falls on Gratuville. It is time once again for the Gratu Orloff television program, episode number 319.
Why, yes, that is correct. 319, and it is a very important milestone, or should I call it a millstone, as our president, our occupant of the White House, called it 2 weeks ago. During his speech, he said, another great millstone. Oh, shit. No, it's a great milestone because we have reached our 200th subscriber here on the Gratu Orloff Network. So that's incredible and astounding. And it's Thursday, March 11th, I think, 2020. A few hours, that same occupant of the White House is about to give a primetime speech. I hear that as soon as this weekend we could be getting our stimulus checks that they delayed so they wouldn't come out while Trump was president. But I'm sure there's going to be some stupid people out there that are going to be, oh, thank you, President Biden. You're the most wonderful reanimated corpse that has ever been president. Well, anyway, back to comic books, because we don't talk about politics here on the Gratu Orloff show. Going through Bronze Age, and apparently the shitty era that kind of turned me bitter and angry before my time was called the Copper Age, I think. Late 80s into the 90s, Copper Age, indeed. You know, the thing about copper is it turns green. You know, the Statue of Liberty, you may know this, the Statue of Liberty, when it was first put up, when it first came over from France, was the color of a newly minted penny. But exposure to the sea and all of that had turned it the green that we know today, which is the green I turn when I look at a lot of Copper Age comics. I was just watching a guy on YouTube, and he was talking about Copper Age comics that you can still buy that are going to go up in value, that they're still pretty cheap. And one was this Batman cover where Batman's folding some girl in his arms, and his cape is like ridiculously. It's an early Todd McFarlane cover, and apparently it's gone up to astronomical value because the cape is the way he later did it with Spawn, and it just, I don't know. Some people like that stuff. Yeah. Okay. Stick with Dick Sprang and Neil Adams. All right. Well, back to the Copper Age. No, not the Copper Age, the Bronze Age. Okay, so I've got two boxes, and they both have Conan the Barbarian comics in it, so that's not going to be able to happen. Because what I did is I gotta fix that. So I've got this one box. I'll show you what I'm doing with. See, this box starts with issue 97, and this one out here starts with issue number 15. So I've got to merge these two boxes, and I'm sure there's a lot of other mergers I'm going to have to do as well. So I'll show you what I've got as I go. First of all, I've got this divider. You used to be able to buy these at Lone Star Comics. It looks like they cost $1.29 back in the 80s. These are the dividers they used to use at Lone Star Comics, which is now by mycomicshop.com. So I'm sure in whatever warehouse, really about a mile or two away from, probably about a couple miles from here, is mycomicshop.com's huge warehouse. I got curious and wanted to figure out where it was. I drove by there one day. But anyway, so in that giant compound, they probably are still using these plastic dividers. But it gives your comic collection a little bit more professionalism, I guess. Alright, so again, this is not a world-class comic collection by any means. But this is just stuff I bought as a kid and high school, college, and picked up over the years because I've always bought old comics. It just, even when I got disenchanted with the stuff on the newsstand. So anyway, this is Conan the Barbarian 15. I could have sworn I had issue 3, but it might have just been that I had a t-shirt when I was in 4th grade that showed the Grim Gray God Blows Wind or whatever, and I think that was issue 3 or 4. I don't think I actually owned it. That's 15. Here's 20. Looks real good with this new lighting system we've got. Yeah, cool stuff. Yep. Barry Smith.
More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
Here are the
Superman.
records you can get. So that's 20.
The adventures of Superman.
Here's 24. First Red Sonja.
When the planet Krypton, home of a race of Supermen exploded into dust, the sole survivor was an infant boy who had been shot to earth in a steel rocket. Today, that boy, grown to manhood, known as Superman, sworn enemy of the forces of evil.
Okay. Here's 25. The Mysterious Mirrors of Karam Akkad.
No one is aware that Kent is Superman. No one but you. Going with us now on ABC.
That's number 20. 25. This is my childhood copy. The very first Conan the Barbarian I ever purchased in 2nd grade. That would have been somewhere in the 72-73 school year. But I was really into monsters, and you could see why this cover would have attracted me. So that's where it all started as far as Conan goes. Those other issues I bought at later times. Here's number 29. Later Conan left, the Marvel, other companies started doing Conan, but for a while Conan was one of the biggest Marvel characters as far as sales. And now Marvel has Conan back, but the ironic thing is Red Sonja is still off with some other comics company, when Marvel Comics really invented Red Sonja. Red Sonja, the name, existed in Robert E. Howard stories, but she was not in that same time period, and she was, I think, a Russian, and she wasn't the barbarian woman with the chainmail and all that. That's all an invention of Marvel Comics. So why this other comic company, and I guess what Marvel added to the intellectual property went with it to the other comic company. Strange. I don't know how all that stuff works. Oh, number 30 feels thick, so it must be a Mark Jewelers variant. I make fun of Biden, but I think I've got a little bit of taste of what he's got, because like last time I was trying to think what's the name of the Jewelers company, because I opened it up and the one I was looking at in the Spider-Man episode didn't say Mark Jewelers. It was some other company, and then it had lingerie, but it was like 3 different companies. But yeah, the Mark Jewelers variants are going to be comics that were sold at Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine bases, and I don't think they have Marine bases. But anyway, it's just a cardboard supplement they staple into the middle, and it's sold to lonely servicemen so they can buy jewelry for their sweethearts. Of course, I'm being sexist. I'm assuming that all the soldiers are men, which is not true. Biden the other day said, the most important thing we've got to do for our army is have maternity flight suits and bulletproof flak jackets or whatever, vests or whatever, that fit women, and we've got to fix the hairstyle requirements. And it's like, so we're making sure that pregnant women are able to defend our country, and meanwhile China's over there saying our boys are too effeminate, we need to toughen them up. And I don't know, it's a bizarro world. Okay, here's 31. Conan the Barbarian 31. Still in the 20th era, the wonderful beginning of the Bronze Age. The 20th era, which is, and I've got 2 copies of this. Alright, what do I got now? 32. Again, I keep showing you. Can you see with this lighting system the G? Where is it? Oh, I can't see it. It's right next to, see under the 20 cent, there's a little CC, which means what? Curtis Magazines? There's a G there. It's in pencil. Can you see it? I doubt it. Anyway, I'm still angry about it. 30 years later, that this store, Lone Star Comics, would write the condition on the comic. It just, and they were comic collectors, but you know, I guess in theory you can erase it, you know, whatever. 32. Man battles monsters in a watery grave. 33. And I treated comics very nicely. My obsessive-compulsive, anal-retentive insanity caused me, even as a child, to treat comics very well. So therefore, these comics, shit, look like they're brand new, more or less. Yeah, there's a couple of little, what the hell do you call them nowadays? Spine ticks, or basically because, as I said in the last episode, kids would fold the comics down. They would paw the comics, you know. Which is why those 7 people that ran the 7-Elevens used to always say, this isn't a library, buy the comic or get out of here. That only happened to me once. I remember in Hampton, Virginia, someone was an asshole. And I was just opening the comic to see who did the art, you know. I wasn't sitting there reading the goddamn thing. Alright, 34. And here's good old Evel Knievel, the idol of just about every kid that you knew back then. I never had I thought the Evel Knievel figure looked very scrawny and wimpy, and I didn't really care about that stuff. I thought Evel Knievel was cool, I guess. But I never had posters of him on my wall or bought his toys. And then ultimately, he took a baseball bat to a reporter, and then the sales of his toys magically just dried up. You know, most people record their shows on laptops or on desktop computers, and then they use this editing program, and it allows them to edit. And I was watching a guy last night who I really like. His name is Behizy, or Behizy, something like that. It's Behizy. He's a young guy. He could be more than 19, and he's really funny, and he does politics. He's just a political commentator, a real young guy, broadcasting out of his mom's house in his bedroom. But he went off on a trip to cover something in Arizona that we can't talk about on YouTube. But he was like saying, I hate having to, he forgot his laptop when he got on the plane, and his mom called him and said, you forgot your laptop? And he says, oh, I'm not going to edit my videos. So he had to send out a video done with his phone the way I do it, and he's like, oh, I'm so awkward because I can't edit. You know, he's used to, like, some people like to, whenever they say or they edit it out. And the really popular YouTube videos do excessive editing. Like every sentence, they like have 3 words, then an edit, then another 2 words, then an edit, and then they just keep editing. So it's just like it catches people's people have short attention spans. You know, they have ADD, so they love these YouTubers that go, you know, crazy like that. And this young girl who's 24 named Brittany Venti, she's also worth looking up on YouTube. Brittany, Britney, and her last name is Venti, Venti. She's part of this generation that grew up with the internet, and she was bemoaning that her culture that she grew up with, so much of it's gone now because it was online, and she's saying the internet's not fun anymore, and you aren't as free anymore, and it's just not as exciting as it was when she was growing up. And she's, all these things she remembers about the internet are now just gone and wiped away because the internet is so ephemeral. Someone can create something, put it up online, and then they could just decide to take the website down or take their video down, or like you could have an amazing channel with lots of great shows or content, as they call it, and then YouTube could decide to wipe it all away or wipe out your Twitter account, and then all the work that you did, you know, all creating the wonderful tapestry of photographs and videos on MySpace, it just goes away. Your Facebook page goes away, and it's almost like your whole identity is gone. All these videos you did going back 11 years. And so people have realized, oh man, people can wipe out all of my childhood so easily. The internet is, which is why our childhood, in these comic books, they can't wipe it away. They can get rid of Pepe Le Pew, or they could stop making a Conan the Barbarian or a Punisher comic, but we're still going to have these old comics, and they can't get rid of them. We have, that's why it's important to have movies on actual discs, not just streaming them or downloading them, because they can disappear, and then you'll never see them again. Oh, my wife and I watched Angels from Hell this morning. It's a 1968 biker movie. It's free on YouTube. It was a lot of fun. And what else have I done? I've been worrying about finances a bit. I tried to create a GoFundMe, and put it on my Facebook page 2 nights ago, because I was worried I need to get my wife to the doctor and pay some bills, and no one's donated to it, and it's just, you know, if we're going to be getting this stimulus check this weekend, that'll take care of most of it. So, anyway. But last night I had a dream that, and it's weird, because I'll give you a secret, but don't tell anyone. This isn't really a 7-story building. This is actually a 2-story house. But in this dream, I had a 7-story building, and there was a fire on the top floor, and this fireman said, no, they're all gone. He's talking about my comic books. He said, they're all gone. And I remember going up there. This was in the dream. It was a very realistic dream. And I didn't write it down, but I still remember it. And I remember going in there, and there was like a stack of about this many comics. It looked like maybe it had survived, but everything was gone, just complete. And it was that was one of those nightmares. Hopefully it wasn't prophetic. Okay, well, maybe the government will send heat next time to Texas instead of the cold like a few weeks ago. 36. I'm talking too much. By this time, John Buscema had taken over. As a kid, I called his name Buscema. John Buscema. But I think it's more Buscema, or somewhere in between. I don't hear his name pronounced, because I don't hear people talking about him. But his granddaughter is an amazing artist. Stephanie Buscema. She does kind of cutesy, goth, cutesy kind of stuff, and she's done Marvel covers. Yeah, that's Stephanie Buscema. Buscema. Maybe it's Buscema. 36.
They fear the name, the fame, and the fury of Black Cal Jefferson.
Here's a Neil Adams cover, 37.
He matched the left hook and the right cross against the skills of the Kung Fu.
So I think this weekend is probably the premiere of this dark, evil Justice League from the mind of what's his face, Zack Snyder. So I have 2 of 37 apparently, which is why I'm doing this. So I won't soon have 3 of 37. Because if I keep buying these these duplicates, it doesn't help my collection much. There's a Marvel value stamp, and that you were supposed to cut those out and put them in a stamp book, but then it ruined your comic. Although usually on the back, they were smart enough not to have the story on the back. There's Iron Fist.
Finest ingredients, aged for flavor. That's Lucky Lager. Flavor that's entertaining,
Ooh, look at this one. It's got a stamp. Comics, buy, sell, and trade. Michael Shiner. You know who Michael Shiner is? And does that bother you? Or does that give it history? To me, it gives a comic history. Because it doesn't affect the art. It goes through the back a little bit. But to me, that's kind of cool. To have a little history of your comic. I just have to look up online who Michael Shiner is. Some of you might know. 37. 38. I think in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie there's a sex scene between these two, which is kind of disgusting scene. Arnold Schwarzenegger's hips thrusting. Can you imagine him with his fat maid that he produced a child with while being married to a Kennedy? 39. Actually, you try not to imagine that. 39. Okay. So those are all things I bought later, but this was one I bought in my childhood. I remember buying this when I lived on Portrait Court in San Antonio, Texas. 25 cents, probably 4th grade. That's Thurl Ravenscroft. Great voice. You hear him in everything. Conan 44. I also bought this as a kid. This is what Red Sonja would become and is still today, but now I think she fights Mars attacks aliens or something, or does science fiction stories. I don't know. I don't know what comic company she's with now, but they team her up with Betty and Veronica and Vampirella and stuff. Very strange. This is 45. I still have a switchblade comb. I just found one recently. I thought that was a really cool thing. Switchblade comb. And actually, they still sell them at the hardware store a block from me. Wait, oh, this is the werewoman again. No, this is the wolf woman. Oh, I think this is the character that Conan was boffing in the Schwarzenegger movie. Basically, I think what John Milius tried to do with Conan the Barbarian was say, okay, so these are the stories, you know, the stories that have been handed down about Conan the Barbarian. You know, how he finds his sword, and then the original owner of the sword, an Atlantean king, comes to life and fights him, you know, and he has to fight him to the, and escape from the cave. That's the legend you've heard. But in reality, I'm going to tell you what really happened with this historical character, Conan the Barbarian. He finds the sword, and then this skeleton of a king just kind of falls over, and then he runs out of the cave. And so it takes all the magic out of it, because the whole point, it's sword and sorcery. But he at least did get sorcery, and at the end of the movie, having Volsadum turn into a snake and transform. But for the most part, he was trying to keep the sorcery, the magic out of it, and make it more of an historical epic. And I'm not knocking the movie, because I love the movie, at least the first one, the Milius one, right? And Conan the Destroyer was okay as like a B movie, matinee movie. But Conan, yeah. But I guess that's what Milius was trying to do. 50. I want to look in this. What time is it? Down below, if you would type down below in the comments section, tell me what time it is. I'd appreciate it. Here's a Migo. Notice they don't call them, what do they call them? Do they call them action figures? They do. Posable action figures. That must be about the time that they came up with that word. Because I'm telling you, this is 4th grade. In 3rd grade and 2nd grade, people were still calling them Migo dolls in the ads. But that's smart. They came up with action figure, and that sounds more manly. Or boily. But I don't think they want that anymore in today's world. They're saying that the terms mom and dad have to go away. 52. And this comic might be a little bit too, I don't know. It seems like they would never sell a comic that filled with this much testosterone to kids today. Because every cover has some buxom woman. As soon as I say that, here's one that doesn't. Every cover has some buxom woman tied up and in fear. But then I say that, and the first one I pull does not have that. Okay, so, and of course, Belay, B-E-L-I-T, the pirate queen, was not gonna ever be shrinking. She was just as much of a warrior as Conan. So this is when Conan joins a band of pirates, and that keeps going for, well, let's see, this is 58, and here's 97, and Belay's still on the cover, so that a good 30-40 issues she was there. She was a major part of his life. The stories and weird tales that Robert E. Howard wrote about Conan, they were just about different parts of this guy's life. And then, you had to kind of put it together to create the timeline of this guy's life and how he started as a thief. And I think the first story, Conan's story, he was already a king. And then they go back and talk about how he was a pirate and he'd done all these different things. Here's a great cover. I mean, a great cover, 59. I don't know that there's a big collector's market for these Conan comics, at least not yet, and maybe there won't ever be. But there should be, I guess. Maybe people will discover them someday. I mean, I know that the first issue's up there. Oh, man. This is a beat-up comic. But I remember buying this. I bought this at Kmart, and I don't know why it's beat up. It was beat up when I bought it. I mean, it was like already like a used copy. It had sat on the shelf for so long. It was like a used copy already. See, it's got like damage down at the bottom, which I did not do. But yeah, I remember buying this. It's got Red Sonja in it. It's 68. That could use an upgrade. Wait, these are fucking out of order. Shit! Pardon me, motherfuckers. Okay, what is going on here? Why are these out of order? 59, 68, and then I pull out 42. So what is going on here? Okay, so the 42, let me get these in the right order. Okay, 42 is way back. And then 50, didn't we already look at this one? I think we did, so I must have 2 of 50. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I have 2 of number 50. Okay, so we're at 68, that King Colon. So then we have 70. Okay. So 70 is a newsstand copy, right? You can tell. 72, the square at the top, I think it means I bought it at a comic store, but then it still has the UPC code. I get confused because sometimes this diamond was, this shape was because it was part of a well, this isn't Whitman. I don't know. Boy, that really was exciting. It's unbelievable how excited we got over that painting, creating it, and all the lies that they about that movie before it was released, and it turned out to be just so abysmal. This comic is pretty worn, so I bought very worn. This is not one of my childhood copies. I got this at some later date, 74. Oh, and here's the old Ernie Chan, also known as Ernie Chow. His covers were always so spectacular and striking. Just something about his art style I just always loved. And I immediately spot them, they're great. And I keep saying, every episode I say, as soon as I finish filming this, I'm going to look him up and find out his story. And then I always forget. 77. I might have known his story at one time, but I've forgotten. That was 77. 78. Yeah, and then everyone was disappointed with Orca, too. So, that came out the summer of Star Wars, didn't it? No wonder no one even thought about that. It's, 79. Yeah, so we're right about the time that Star Wars came out when this the time period we're dealing with here, which I think is what, 40 or more years ago. Oh, see, here's John Buscema and Ernie Chan working together. So you wind up with something so striking. This Monty Python and the Holy Grail music works really well with these Conan records. Sometimes you luck out. This is number 81. One thing about that first Conan the Barbarian music, that music is that soundtrack record is one of the greatest things. I remember when it first came out, was the movie 81 or 82. It was in high school, and you put on the opening theme to Conan the Barbarian, which I think is called Anvil of Crom or something. Basil Poledouris, who I guess is Greek or something, that opening theme, you play that on the cassette deck in your Chevy Malibu as you drive around Gratouville. You just feel like you're invincible, like you're in a tank. You can just go and run right through people's houses and stuff and out the other side when that music's playing. Of course, this music, we didn't know how to get this music except recording Monty Python and the Holy Grail off of television, off of PBS. But now you can, it's right available. It's turned out to be British library music that's probably been used in a million movies, and you can get it right off YouTube very easily. Just type in Monty Python and the Holy Grail soundtrack. Oh, and I'll tell you, it made my day getting the message from Graphic Man. I guess he's sending me something in the mail. I'm thrilled, you know, because that'll make my day. I've been kind of depressed lately, and things. So you want to? That's great. I'll send you. I'll find something to send you, and I got to do the same thing for. I got to do the same thing for Captain Strangelove, who sent me a nice package a couple weeks ago. Okay, here's another collaboration between Buscema and Ernie Chan. Yeah, 1977. Yeah, I mean, seriously, this looks like it was just picked up off the newsstand. I mean, this is, would definitely, I would think, get a 9.8 from those scum CGC. Yay. Of course, they say don't send anything to CGC unless it's worth over $100, because it's not really worthwhile. At least that's what the guy at the comic shop was telling somebody when I was in there a few weeks ago. So I assume that's correct. I don't know. Or maybe if you think it's going to go up in value. I remember this. They were trying to promote that as like the new Star Trek or something. Well, what kind of toys can you get here? A World of Conan map. 85. Here's 86. Whew. 87. I remember like yesterday picking this up off the newsstand. Another collaboration between John Buscema and Ernie Chan. Just look at that, and the coloring is so great. That might be what ultimately morphed into the female character played by Grace Jones in the second Conan movie, Conan the Destroyer. I don't know where that character came from. Although it seems like she was a pretty good character. I will. 89. '90. We're into 1978 now. So I'm in 8th grade. We're at the tail end of 7th grade. And comic books were going up, still only 35 cents. Which means that very soon you'll be paying 40 cents. Tale of Conan's Youth, The Thing in the Crypt. Didn't we already do this story? I thought... Anyway, well, that's what was supposed to have happened in Conan the... Maybe they reprinted the story. Anyway, that was supposed to have actually gotten up and fought him, not just fall over. But oh well. 92. Oh, I got 2 copies of it. Well, now I can open it up and see. Oh yeah. The smash sensation of the 70s, Kiss, And what was not the smash sensation of the 70s, Jaws 2. Here's Dr. Doom's famous Milk Duds ad. I don't think I've ever had a Milk Dud in my life. Micronauts Battle Cruiser. Yeah. Thing in the Crypt. Let's see. Roy Thomas, Ernie Chan was actually the inker, and John Buscema's brother, Sal Buscema, was the penciler. So that's interesting.
Right.
93. '94. 95. And then we got 96. We're up to 78 now. Ooh. Marie Severin art. I love Marie Severin. Power Man and Iron Fist. If they had looked like that on Netflix, don't you think people would have accepted it and thought it was cool? I think they would have. And if they wouldn't, if they didn't like that, then why are they watching a comic book show? 97. Okay. 98. So I guess this is kind of a Conan-centric episode tonight. Oh, I have 2 of 98. I hope it's a key issue. Oh my God. The Man Crabs of the Dark Cliffs. Well, that's 99, so here's the big issue 100. Oh, looks like they killed off Belay. It's a thick issue. Ooh, they're still trying to sell kryptonite rocks in the early 80s. It's weird they're doing it in a Marvel comic. I guess that's because the Superman movie had just come out. So, everybody was into Superman. 101. Oh, the Gray Man's about to, I just saw popping up at the top of my screen. Gray Man in 30 minutes is going to do a Fantastic Four show. I've been enjoying his walks around, he has special episodes called Walkies, where he just walks around, where he lives. And if you don't live in England, that's fascinating, If you figure, well, why would anyone want to watch me walk around my neighborhood? Well, if you live in Russia, it's interesting. Or if you live in Portugal, that might be, Grotuville might be very fascinating. You don't ever think about that. One of the 3, kind of a little travel log. 104. How far did I go? So that's the thing, is like last night or 2 nights ago we found that I had kind of given up on Spider-Man before they got to issue 300, which is the one that's worth thousands now. So I don't have issue 300, but then I came back and started buying Spider-Man about the time that they were making the Sam Raimi, the original Sam Raimi movie. So okay, so again, you can immediately tell if you were around at the time, you kind of know, okay, that was when Star Trek the movie, the motion picture came out. So that's 79, 108. 109. And this ad was just so always there. It never seemed to change. 111. There's another little pop-up at the top of my screen that says, 50 days without a press conference. People are starting to get concerned. Why hasn't Joe Biden given a press conference? It's so alarming. You can't figure that out. Again, another Ernie Chan cover. Damn, he was great. I wonder if he colored his own covers, because he always had great coloring on his covers. And see, this one, who drew this? Let's see, this cover is nothing compared to the last one. It almost looks like a bad photocopy when you look at his face. I mean, there's no real detail there. Is this Howard Chaykin or some artist that doesn't care very often? Okay, inside is John Buscema and Neil Adams did the art. That's cool. Although it's not really Neil Adams at his finest, it doesn't look like. I don't know. It's a cool monster there. I was looking more at the Saturday morning lineup. Looks pretty lackluster on CBS. Although that Tarzan cartoon was pretty good. Here's 118. $119. That's why parody works, I think. If Monty Python and the Holy Grail had used silly music, because it's comedy, let's have funny music like Benny Hill or something, it wouldn't have been funny. You have adventurous music, like, and then have silly shit happening. With the adventurous music, then it's funny, and so few people understand that. You know, the Zuckers or whatever that made the Kentucky Fried Movie and the Naked Gun, or based on the Police Squad, the TV show, had a theme song that sounded like just any Quinn Martin show, and it would start Police Squad in color, even though it was made in the 80s, and it was made like a 60s show, and it was done so deadpan and serious. The movie Airplane had serious music. That's what makes it funny. As soon as you go for the wah 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 kind of, it just doesn't work. And you can't have a laugh track either, because that ruins it too. You gotta be straight about it and make it look, and the music's important. I mean, this music's great. 120. They're still selling the Roman soldiers to kids in the 80s. I'm proud of myself. I'm not here. I mean, I'm looking at these and realizing these look like brand new comics. I mean, look at the shine on them. They're like you just picked them up off the newsstand. So I'm realizing I did a good job as the custodian, as the caretaker, because we're all caretakers in museums. As I said a few episodes ago, we're preserving this for future generations. Here's a Gil Kane cover, 127. But if I was a really good custodian, I'd be getting these bagged and boarded. But it's going to be a couple more months before I have some extra funds for that. Because buying bags and boards, and I really need to be getting my wife to the doctor, is kind of doesn't go over too well. It kind of turns you into a king-sized rat fink. But I got so much stuff to read that I don't need to be buying new comics. 129. Spider-Man and his amazing friends. He had Firestar, who was a character they made up for the show, and Iceman. who, I don't know if he ever even mentioned being in the X-Men. He might have, but here we've got wonderful Gil Kane art. And this is 81. A few years before, Gil Kane had done some art for the Marvel adaptation of John Carter, Warlord of Mars. And so that reminded me of what I remember from Gil Kane's period on that. There's Gil Kane again. Oh, for those of you that are new to comics, this is not a mistake or a defect. You'll notice on comics from this era, they have a little bit of color at the top. And let me show you. See there? I don't even know what I'm seeing because I'm holding the camera backwards. But right along here, see they're different colors. There's red, green, black. That was kind of like a date stamp, so that people at the 7-Eleven or newsstand that were selling the comics knew which comics had been on the stand long enough and would pull them. That's how they could tell if the comic was time to, hey, this thing's not selling, I better try to get credit for it. 131. So that last one was black, and this one looks kind of, what is that, green? I don't know. I think men and women see colors differently. There's a blanket we've got, and I always call it the brown blanket, and my wife says, no, it's purple, and we've been arguing about it for 5 years, no longer. And it's like, go get the purple blanket. Oh, you mean the brown blanket? And I swear that thing's brown. I had to put it on the show sometime and show you that blanket, and then you guys could vote if it's brown or purple. She says men and women sometimes see differently colors. I don't know. I'm not giving you numbers. 134. This is definitely a newsstand variant. I bet that one I showed you before was a Whitman variant. I don't know. What do I know? Metarog would know. I don't think many people have the time to watch these long episodes I do, but I really think it's great, those of you that stick with me and through these shows, because this is just one of the ways I keep my sanity. Oh, and I knew that there was a girl in Angels from Hell that we watched earlier this morning. So I know that woman from somewhere. So I looked up the cast of the movie Angels from Hell, and she played T'Pring, the bride-to-be for Spock in Amok Time. And she has this very exotic look. She apparently died in 2014. But she also played an evil witch on Bewitched, and was in I Dream of Jeannie. She was in a lot of stuff. 139. Okay, eventually Marvel went to this M for their direct sales comics. But see, I was still buying a lot of these. I like this one I bought at the newsstand, which would have probably been G. Sanders Books or the Century Bookstore at the Forum Mall. G. Sanders Books is in Pantego, Texas. It was. Long gone now. 152. I think it's now part of a Chinese restaurant, that part of the strip center. 153. Looks like John Bisham is back at this point. Inside art. Okay. This was Assistant Editors Month, where they did little pranks, like putting the go-go checks on a Marvel comic. The go-go checks were what DC did around 1966 on their comics, for those of you that might be new to comic collecting. And so there were little pranks played, like, for instance, the special edition, the Caesar's commentaries on the Gallic Wars, and then it goes to the story. And there's just little pranks they do throughout the comic. There's a role-playing game of James Bond. I got into Dungeons and Dragons or the role-playing games about the time that this movie blew everyone's mind in junior high school, when it was run on American TV in the late 70s, on here locally on Channel 13 PBS, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. There were kids that walked around after lunch and recited lines from Monty Python and the Holy Grail and from last Saturday's Saturday Night Live. They would just recite these lines. That was their sense of humor, is to repeat the humor of other people. And then a lot of these guys started playing, Dungeons and Dragons, and then there was this one guy I knew that was crazy, and he would go and shoplift Dungeons and Dragons stuff from a place down about half a mile from the high school during lunch. He was crazy. He'd go to the teacher's desk, and he was a straight A student. I'm sure he went to Harvard, but he would talk to the teachers so sincerely and be stealing books off the teacher's desk while he's talking to her, like Eddie Haskell, and then on the way home he'd throw them in this little man-made canal on the way home. He was a bastard. I forget his name, but he was a scary guy. He was someone I associated with. He was really more of a friend of mine. But here's Ernie Chan again. He's crazy. But anyway, people got into Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm not knocking you guys that were into Dungeons and Dragons, but it just seemed like, boy, that's a lot to study. You got to really know a lot to play this game, and know math and stuff. I don't think I have time for that, and I just never got into it. But people would meet at each other's houses and spend hours and hours and entire weekends playing through these campaigns, pretending to be elves and things. And then there was this story in the news that these kids at some college or high school there was a maze of tunnels under their college, and they decided to go play Dungeons and Dragons for real in the tunnels, and this one kid got lost, and they never found him, or he died. I forget what his name was. It was some weird name, kind of nerdy name. 176. Anyway, this kid, and then it was like, oh, this game is satanic. And the only thing I ever did was I got the Monsters Manual, because I thought it was cool to have all these monsters in one place, even though some of the drawings were good and some were like pretty. But that's the only thing I ever did. And I wonder what that's worth now. But that's the only. And then by high school, a lot of these people were into a game called Champions, and it was a superhero game where you created your own superhero, and I guess you were in some superhero league or squad, and that was a lot of people I knew were into it. I think I went along once and watched some people play it. That's just not me. I figured I'm enough of a nerd being into comic books. Do I want to sink down one level lower? I guess I was always a snob in a way, because I collected these comics, and then when I went to the first comic convention, I was like, oh my God, is this what I am? Or am I like these people? Because I was like horrified. And also in comic book stores, I would see, oh, is this a reflection of who I am? And I guess so, but I'm not that bad, am I? And like, so in comic conventions I'd go, and I just want to go to the dealer's room, and I'd want to kind of put on blinders like a horse. I don't want to see what's around me. I don't want to see this guy's ass crack bending over to look at the X-Men comics. I just want to see. And then I wanted to leave as quickly as possible, but I wanted to, once I spent all my money, I headed out. Because I'd been fooled before. I thought Star Trek was a really cool thing because my older brother was into it, and his friend would come over when we were living in Germany, and Star Trek was on Saturday night. They'd sit and watch it, and I thought, boy, this is what the cool older kids are into. And I loved Star Trek when it started being syndicated in 73 and in San Antonio, and then the cartoon came on, and I was like so into Star Trek. And then I start seeing what Star Trek truckers are really like, and I'm thinking, oh my God. It's like, and then you realize it's kind of crushing when you realize things you think are cool aren't to the vast majority of the population. And now the characters that I loved are cool in movies, but I just don't think the comics are cool yet. People wear shirts they get at Target with images from the 70s and 60s Marvel comics, but yeah, I don't think actually owning the comics is cool yet. I don't know. This is a special issue. Does that make it an annual? It reprints old stuff. Okay. Well, here's annual number 2. Okay. And then from this box, here's annual number 3. Annual 4. Boy, that woman's got a lot of clothes on for the cover of a Conan. That's ridiculous. She's very overdressed for this party. I've never seen a woman with that much clothing on in a Conan comic. Number 6. Ooh, that's cool. Number 9. It's another Ernie Chan cover. What's cool, it looks like something out of an early Thor comic. It's cool that they made annual in the same font as Conan. That's what I was reacting to. Ooh, a giant-sized Conan. Number 1. Isn't that a cool cover? Yeah, it's reprints of early stuff. It's giant-sized Conan the Barbarian 2 with a date stamp, which glasses. How do you find glasses? Oh man, September. I think it just says September received. They might have a number slipped there in the N. Okay. So the girls are back to their normal state of attire, and we're in giant size number 2. This looks like it baked a little bit at a 7-Eleven in a spinner rack. It looks like maybe the cover should be a little brighter, but a little bit too much sun hit it, or a fluorescent light. That'll do it too. 4. I wonder if I could get some lighting that isn't fluorescent for this YouTube shit. Ooh, is this a Kirby cover? It sure looks like it. It looks like Kirby mixed with maybe someone else on Conan's face. Yeah, because around 1975 they had Kirby doing just about every cover. It's weird to see Kirby's art on Conan. It's like Conan has wandered over into Thor's world. Yeah, see, it's the Barry Smith era art reprinted. Okay. Then I've got King Conan, number 1. From the time that Star Trek came out, the movie, 79. King Conan 2. From the time they started selling the model kits of the new Enterprise. King Conan 3. It was a dangerous world that Conan lived in, I'll tell you. Yeah, here's an ad for Dungeons and Dragons. Gary Gygax. To me, that was the beginning of the end, because Gary Gygax, and you can look at that fucking guy, what's his name, Bill Gates, and tell that he played Dungeons and Dragons. You could just tell. And a lot of my friends were into these role-playing games. They were the first into the computers. Look at my TRS-80 that I just got from Radio Shack. Isn't it wonderful? And these people, yeah, these are these weird people, like Zuckerberg that has the dead shark eyes. And these were people that were picked on and now want to get their revenge against all mankind, like James Bond villains. King Conan became Conan the King. Here he is, looking very Prince Valiant-like. $25. $26. Okay, now here, let me show you why I'm doing this. See, this box has Conan the Cimmerian, and this says Conan, and I need to get these mixed together so I really have an idea what I own. So now we're moving into these non-Marvel Conan comics, and I don't know what this era is. I mean, that was Bronze Age, and then there was the Copper Age, and this era, I don't know what this era is. 2001, what era was it? The 10 Age? I don't know. But these are really damn good. And so let's see what I really own. And I don't understand. Already I'm confused because of these fucking idiots that have to keep starting the numbering systems over again. Because I've got Conan the Cimmerian 0, and then I've got Conan 0. So now I've got to figure out dates. And okay, so I assume it's two different comics. I don't know which one came first. I think that Conan came before Conan the Cimmerian. Let's see what you got here. Alright, so this is Conan 0. The artwork's okay. And then I've got this free comic day Conan with Star Wars in the back. The artwork is like most modern comics. There's no words because people don't read anymore. Very few words. So you read the comic in about 40 seconds. So I guess that doesn't even have a number. It's all Dark Horse. Okay, so I think that came first. And then I think they fixed it by making it more like Marvel. Conan the Cimmerian, the art inside this is really good. And then I think they have Richard Corbin, too. Yeah, and here they have Joe Kubert doing Conan, which I don't think it had ever been done before. He always did Tarzan and you know, and what was the caveman? Tor, right? And then you got really great cheesecake on this cover, and it looks pretty Marvel-like. Not quite, but it's got Richard Corbin interior art. And I don't have all of these, but I need to pick up the ones I don't have, because Richard Corbin doing Conan, that's great. And then here's a Corbin special. We're moving out of Conan here. From Pacific Comics. And this has that wonderful Richard Corbin art. And it looks like this is all adaptations he did of Edgar Allan Poe stories. And it might have, I think these are all printed in Creepy and Eerie, I'm pretty sure. And maybe he owned them and lent them out to Creepy and Eerie, and then this was later put out. Okay, so we got a Corbin special. Then we've got the Cougar. See, I'm not sure if he's the Cougar or if she's the Cougar, because, oh, I'm kidding. The term Cougar did not, in the 70s, have that meaning yet, referring to an older woman. Anyway, Atlas Comics. Cougar. Okay, and then there was Cosmic Heroes that reprinted. Oh, this is just so great. I forgot about this. It reprints the old Buck Rogers comic strip. You know, which was amazing. And this is number 1 from Eternity. And then I go to number 4. So this is definitely something I need to find. I can't imagine these are very valuable or that anyone collects them. So maybe I could find these in like dollar bins sometime. 7. I can only assume that by this point those early Buck Rogers comic strips from probably the late 20s, early 30s had gone into public domain, and that's why they were able to print them. This probably should be with my, yes, this probably needs to be in with my Underground comics. It's Cosmic Clitty. You know, and it's from Eros, but it's Gray Morrow art. And you ever realize how much that sounds like Gray Matter, his name? But I think Eros Comics was done by Gary Groth that did the Comics Journal. And see, you know, Frank Thorne, who did the Red Sonja comics and also these later erotic comics, he passed away about 3 days ago, I think, and I haven't mentioned it because I just found out last night. So yeah, he was great, Frank Thorne. Crash Ryan. It's number 2 in a 4-issue limited series, but that's the only one I've got is number 2. Okay, so then I have Crisis on Infinite Earths, but in this other box I've got Creatures on the Loose, so I need to move them over. Hold on. What a mess. Okay, continuing with the Conan theme, which is really why this exists in Creatures on the Loose. This is, what was his name? Gulliver of Mars, which was also from created about the same time as John Carter of Mars. I think maybe right about the same time. Anyway, Marvel did not get the rights to John Carter for another maybe 6 years, but they were trying to do it in the early 70s with Gulliver. And then they were trying to get, you know, any Conan was selling well enough, they were trying to do any kind of sword and sorcery. Here's Thongor, Warrior of Lost Lemuria. Then Creatures on the Loose 31, Man-Wolf. I know I've got other Creatures on the Loose. See, there's got to be more in another box. I'm almost certain. Okay, Creatures on the Loose. Okay, before I put Crypt of Shadows, Crisis would go first. Where's Crisis 1? I've got to have Crisis 1. I know I have it. I don't see Crisis 1. I have it. Trust me. I don't know if these are valuable. I love the artwork and everything. I just kind of hated what they were doing. I liked the multiple Earths. I didn't like collapsing it all and having characters die. I never liked that. There's 6. Here's this iconic cover. And then, you know, they killed off the Flash. 9. But I realized they were just trying to make it less complicated so they could sell more toys. I knew that was really what was behind it. 10. 11. Pisses me off that 1 is not here. Shit. 12. Giant final issue spectacular. Voltron Force. Okay, then I've got a religious comic. It's just out. See this? This morning I found one of these at the donut shop. Not this one. It was an exact copy of this one. I picked it up off the sidewalk. It was a little wet, so I just left it on the floor of my car. But I haven't seen one of these in the wild in about 6 years. They used to leave them on the gas pump at the Texaco. But yeah, these are Jack Chick tracks. The artwork's pretty... I did an episode about these last summer. I don't think a lot of you were watching then, but if you go back, the artwork in a lot of these is actually pretty good. But they've been scaring people for generations. Cross and the Switchblade. They made a movie of the Cross and the Switchblade with Pat Boone and Eric Estrada, I think. Yeah. Here's Crossfire. You know, it's Dave Stevens from 1985. Artwork is very good inside, very good. See, 24th annual death of Marilyn Monroe. That's just weird that you've got a superhero finding her. Trust me, she didn't look that glamorous when they found her. Trust me.
Extra rich and deeply satisfying.
It's wonderful.
I mean, I think it's a great cover. It was a little, I guess it's a little tasteless though, since that's a real person. Okay, that's Crossfire. Then you got the Crusaders. Now, you know that Jack Chick little tract I showed you? This is the same company. They did a regular comic. The Crusaders were like kind of like challengers of the unknown, but they went around. They were a religious force that went around and performed exorcisms and found, you know, the lost ark and stuff before Indiana Jones ever did. But yeah, that's what these are if you ever find them. The Exorcist. It's they're religious superhero they're not really superheroes. They don't have superpowers. But they're Christian comics. And they're not bad. Cyber. What is this shit? Oh, it's actually good. It looks like it's British. I love this British stuff. 2000 AD looking stuff. I don't know if it's 2000. Yeah, it is. It's all Judge Dredd kind of 2000 AD. It's just the cover is very American and crummy looking, but the inside is good. So now I understand why I bought that. It's horrible when there's something and I have no idea why I bought it. The covers are really trashy looking, but the interior art is really cool. It probably was black and white in the original British form, and then they colored it for the American reprinting. See, it's so cool inside, and so shitty looking on the outside. Okay, Cyber. What is this the same shit? Yeah. Okay, now what is my excuse in buying this? It's this typical Image Comics. What is that? Who is this artist? Rob Liefeld. Someone named Joe Benitez, and someone named Bat, Billy Tent. It all looks, this 90s stuff all looks the same to me. It does nothing for me. Psyblade. Oh wait, Crypt would be before Cyber, any of those Cyber comics. Crusaders, Crypt. Crypt of Shadows. This is a childhood comic. Reprints of 50s horror. Okay.
Get a real dark suntan.
Here's 14.
Get a real dark suntan real fast. Get 10,
20.
Tan fastic gives a real dark suntan real fast.
Here's Alfie of Alpha Beta Markets.
Here's a really beat up 20. I must have gotten that for like a quarter or something. Okay, then I go to Daredevil here. Okay. Alright, well then I'm going to have to combine the Daredevils. So we've got Daffy Duck. Yeah, Daffy Duck. Ooh, an extra fun Daffy Duck with an extra fun 16-page fun catalog. What those are, that means that this came out not long before Christmas, and they have this catalog in the middle showing with a bunch of ads for toys that you could get around that time period, so you could show your parents, this is what I want. So if you didn't have a Sears wish book catalog, you could show them, hey, I want this Snoopy toothbrush, or this, I need to get out these give a show things. That's what it was called, right?
Do yourself a favor, enjoy the freshness of Gordon's.
Yeah, I ought to get mine out and show you some of those. Daredevil stunts, SSP racers, yeah. Well, these call them these TT. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. And I had the Smash Up Derby. I still do.
Wild Route 360 presents
Smash Up Derby.
I know I'm gonna make it. I can't fail. Gonna grab the world and shake it by the tail.
You're in the mailroom, buddy, and you're stuck right there.
If you're interested in toys of this era, it's always good to get these Gold Key comics with that at the top. Dagger the Invincible, however it's pronounced. A Gold Key. This is a Whitman variant from a 3-pack. Here's patches you could get. In the 70s, patches were cool. These are iron-on t-shirts. In the 80s, it was little round pins were cool and very new wave. Artwork looks like that, and they even have a Hulk ad in a Gold Key comic. And here's Dakota North Investigations, #1, Marvel. This is put out by a friend of mine. He made a movie of this, and then he made a comic. See, he even does an Aurora ad, like there's an Aurora. It's John Michael McCarthy out of Tennessee. Made his own movies and comics. Okay, so we're at Dark Crystal, #1. Okay, so now we've got Daredevil and the Black Widow. 101. Where are my other Daredevils in the... Oh. Okay, that's a great cover. I'm just sorry, I'm kind of confused here. Okay. Daredevil 120. So she was still with him, but she didn't have double billing. 120. Wait, 116 is before 120. This one I bought as a child. 120. Okay, 130. I guess by that time he'd kicked the Black Widow out of his comic. I have more of these. Where are they? There must be a third box that has D letters in it. Here's 131. There's 132. $133. $136. This is Bicentennial Era. $137. See, my collection's very spotty. $147. I mean, I wasn't really, I don't know. $149. The Deep is playing at a movie theater. That's a movie that they thought was going to be a big hit. It's weird how the price is so small. Because it was based on a book by, what's his name, Paul Benchley, the guy that wrote Jaws. So they figured, well, if we adapt another one of his books, it'll be just as much of a hit. But it wasn't. So The Deep, when they drew it, they thought, oh, that'll be cool. We know that'll be a hit. Let's put it on the front cover, and then kids will pick it up off the newsstand and see a movie that's out right now is playing in the theater in this comic. And that'd look cool, like it's very timely, but it turned out it wasn't a movie anyone wanted to see. Here's 155. Looks like a Tomb of Dracula cover because of Gene Colan or Colan. Inside is Frank Robbins' art. I guess I've always pronounced it Gene Colan. I just assume it's that. Wait, do I have two of that? No. $155. $159. I think we're moving into territory where these are real valuable, or they were. $160. Strangling her with a hairdryer. Lovely. $161. Ooh. Steve Ditko, $162. He did the cover, and he did the interior art. And Daredevil, being a similar kind of, sort of, being kind of a sort of similar character to Spider-Man. This is about as close as we would ever get to Steve Ditko returning to Spider-Man. I guess he'd do any character but Spider-Man because of his philosophical difference going back to the mid-60s. $166. $167. $168. Yeah, I mean, these at least used to be really valuable. I don't know anymore because, well, it's because it was the Elektra period. They brought Elektra back in the Netflix show in '72. But I don't think a lot of people noticed. 176. 177. 179. 180. 184. They finally updated that prizes for, you know, cash for prizes thing. 185. No, I never once bought a G.I. Joe comic. 186. Because I was an old G.I. Joe guy, you know, and then these little tiny figures, I didn't really get it. I was in college, I guess, at that point, or I don't know when those... But I saw the cartoon on TV more than a few times and was aware that it was really well done. So I imagine the comics were too. I just wasn't, it didn't hit me at the right age, I guess. 189. 190. This is really thick. It's a double-sized... No, I'm holding up two comics, that's why. 190. 193. Let's see what we got here. 194. I need to change these bags. 202. 212. 215. 217. 227. 228. Then we move into what? Did they start the numbering over? I guess they did. This is Marvel Knights, which I was told was really good, and it was. It's darker, it's more adult, it's, yeah, very bloody, and ultimately, I guess what kind of became the Netflix show, 32. You know, my pet peeve about the Netflix show is he's always got a 5 o'clock shadow, or more than a 5 o'clock shadow. And yet, that's the part of his face that's exposed. So if he has the 5 o'clock shadow when he goes into court as Matt Murdock, and I guess the judge could excuse that he looks like a bum because he's blind, you know, but then when he's out as Daredevil, and you can see that he's got the same chin with the 5 o'clock shadow, it just seems like that might be a giveaway. Is this the girl that was the villain in X-Men 2? I guess. I don't know who she is. X-Men 2 was good. I think they just called it X2. 37. Yeah, I got a bunch of these. This might have been about the time the movie was coming out. And it looks like I have 2 copies of 39. I don't know why. Probably an accident. Wait, then I've got some out of order. Or at least one. Okay, here's 35. Let's get Spider-Man. And that's out of order. So, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. It's like I was picking this up every month.
These are the overlords of dead.
41.
Now, more real.
And another 41. Boy, it'd be great if these are super valuable comics. 42. 43.
Darkness, king of the vampires. For 10 years, his mortal remains were cherished.
44.
His faithful servant, awaiting
45.
to provide the life force for the reincarnation.
46.
Dracula.
Boy.
A strange premonition warns the guests
47.
of Dracula that their host is ready to
48.
receive them.
And then I forgot they did an Ultimate Daredevil. Looks like I picked up an Ultimate Daredevil.
He is undead, Mr. Kent. He can be
I don't know how long that went on.
killed.
At least 2 issues, because I've got 2 issues.
Where's Charles?
Okay.
You don't need.
I guess this is a limited series to... And then I've got something called The Dark Book, a comprehensive look at comic book villains from Wizard Press. So it's got posters and just, it's... Then I've got Darker Image. Don't know what that is. Then I've got Darkhold, pages from the Book of Sins, number 5. Very 90s looking. I must have been trying to figure out what was going on in the current world of comics at that time and gave it a stab.
He saw something on the board, something that he insists was his brother.
Then it moves to Dazzler, but in this box I've got some Dark Shadows, so I'm going to put those in there.
Someone in this village is practicing witchcraft. See, the undead slaves.
Technically,
Slaves and forced to
these Dark Shadows that are 15 cents, I want to put them in the, because I'm putting all of my 15-cent comics in the Silver Age, with the Silver Age, so I'm going to put them in a different box. And here's this, I remember buying this and it was all beat up when I bought it, and I bought it anyway because I wanted it, and it was the only copy at the store, and I hated that the spine was all screwed up like that, but that's what it was when I bought it in the 70s. This is a Whitman variant. It's a cool cover. I've shown you these before. I don't know if you guys watch every episode. And then this is apparently really valuable, and it's just something I saved, and apparently it's the first appearance of Constantine or something. It's not really valuable. I don't know. 30, 40 bucks. I don't know. You tell me down below. By the way, I notice all the people on YouTube always say, well, make sure if you're getting value out of this content that you like it, and then put a comment below, and make sure you share it with your friends, and tell people about the Gratu Orloff channel. And what else is it you can do? You can like it. Yeah, things like that, I guess. Does anyone even care about Dazzler? Maybe. Here's Dazzler number 2. I hope this doesn't cause me to get in trouble with YouTube, because this same orchestra and singers did a Superman theme, and it's not allowed to be played in Cuba, Iran, North Korea, or Syria. So my video that played the Superman theme is banned from those markets. DC Sampler, DC. Okay, DC Comics presents. This is a 70s team up comic. Here's number 2. There's 3. 4. Oh, here's the first appearance of the new Teen Titans. This is number 26. This is probably pretty valuable, I guess. Oh wait, they're out of order. This one's 8. I thought I had a lot more of this comic. I don't know. I sure love the new Teen Titans, but you know, I thought they'd be a lot more valuable than they are. I looked them up on mycomicshop.com. You can get those early, except for the beginning of Deathstroke or whatever. It seems like you get those comics $3 or $4. That's about what a new comic cost. Okay, so I got DC Sampler 2 in one box and DC Sampler 3 in this other box. So let's get those together. This is a cool comic. Superheroes battle super gorillas. Yeah. Carmine Infantino told everybody at DC, if you want to sell a comic, you gotta have a gorilla on the cover. It has to be a purple cover. It has to, there are certain things, I wish I could remember. It was a long list of things, not long, a short list. Gorillas, purple covers. There were just certain things that, dinosaurs did it. So if you had a purple cut background and a dinosaur fighting a gorilla, boy, would that, and I have 2 copies of this. That's DC Special number 16. Here's DC Special number 18. My earlier DC Specials, I think, are with the Silver Age comics. Here's DC Special number 19. Here's number 21, Superheroes War Against the Monsters. See, and if you can get a purple dinosaur, that's even better. Yeah, see, it's Ernie Chua, who would later become Ernie Chan. See that there? In fact, here he just, on this cover, he did it too. He just called himself EC. Oh, I love his art. Nobody ever talks about him. Here's 22. Oh, and I loved Enemy Ace. Here's 26 with Enemy Ace reprints. 29, The Untold Origin of the Justice Society. Here I have, okay, then I have DC Superstars number 1 with Teen Titans. And another one of the same thing. Okay, this is where there's a merger between these 2 boxes again. Okay, I have 1-3 in that box and 1-3 in this box, see?
A modern filter?
So.
Sure, Winston has it. But that's only the beginning of a Winston. Up front, up where it really counts, Winston packs exclusive filter blend. Light, flavorful tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoking. Filter blend. That's why it's fun to smoke Winston. America's
Here's number 5. Here's an Aquaman issue. Someone was doing a video earlier today. I was just watching it before dinner about Aquaman, and he looked in the key issues are very inexpensive of Aquaman. He thought they should be a lot more based on how good he thought the movie was from a few years ago. I need to rewatch that movie. The first time I saw it, we were coming back from Houston and we got caught in a horrific rainstorm. I mean, like I couldn't see anything. And there were like tornadoes and floods and it was this horrific rain, awful. So I knew there was a drive-in movie theater coming up. So I said, we'll pull over in the drive-in theater and wait till the rain stops, then we'll drive the rest of the way back to Grotuville. And so we pull in, we watch Aquaman, and it started raining so hard that we had the windshield wipers going, and it's like we're watching people underwater, and we're underwater. And it was like we were in the movie. And then you couldn't really hear the characters talking because of the rain was so loud. And I've since bought the Blu-ray, but I've got to watch it under better circumstances where I can actually hear. This is number 11 with this terrific cover. It's got to be Gray Morrow. And it is. Yeah, and I've got 2 copies of it because it's just such a great... I love his art so much. I bought 2 copies over the years. Here's 14 Secret Origins of Supervillains. And here's 15. Oh, and then I really liked this. I wonder why they don't bring... This was really good. Star Hunters. I really felt this was well written and well drawn. At least in 7th grade I did. I wish they would have continued with that. And then this, they wrote very good on it. This is an important issue, I'm pretty sure. The Huntress, it's number 17. DC Superstars of Space, number 2. So I need to get number 1 of that. And I need to get number 3. I've got 4. Looks like I bought every other issue, because now I've got 6. Number 8. This is a shitty song they're playing on Gratu Radio. What was I thinking? I guess sometimes I put on songs because I think the title sounds good before I even listen to the song, and then I wind up with an embarrassment. Oh, and then these things, which are perennially in the dollar bins. They're DC Who's Who's. They're encyclopedias of all the characters. But they're cool, you know. But you know what they look? They look like this. And then there's these reprints of the Neil Adams Dead Man. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll start with Dead Man and Death Rattle in this next box tomorrow. And then we'll get to Defenders. But that's a relief. I've combined 2 boxes, and now I have a better idea of what Conan comics I have. Leave It to Beaver was just phenomenally good. My wife, I don't think, has seen many of them. I wonder who has Leave It to Beaver on streaming. I've got a couple of seasons on DVD, but she's got this obsessive compulsive. She needs to start. She needs to see episode 1, and then needs to see them all in complete order. And I try to explain, well, TV shows back then weren't really necessarily meant to be seen in order, and usually in syndication they weren't shown in order. But she has this mindset that she needs to see it, all TV shows, from the beginning in order to, that's just her thing. But I don't know if they're on Netflix. Seems like they used to be, or Hulu, Rugu, or Boo or what streaming service might have Leave It to Beaver. Another thing I would like to see, again, is WKRP in Cincinnati, and I don't know who has that. And then, when I was talking about Welcome Back, Kotter, I remember it being a shitty show, but then later, after Welcome Back, Kotter, I since became a teacher and then retired as a teacher, and then I thought, well, I'd like to go back and watch Welcome Back, Kotter, having had been a teacher. Last time I saw it was before I even thought it. And shows about teachers are interesting to me in a way. So, you know, you guys were telling me in the talkback down below that I should check out Head of the Class. That it's good with Howard Hessman from WKRP. And so, yeah, but I don't know how to see it. I don't know. If someone's got that streaming, that'd be cool. Oh boy, and then I've got my friend coming over tomorrow night, so I gotta move all these boxes. Yikes. Okay. Well, I went to, did I tell you earlier, I went to this mask thing in Texas. Yesterday was the last day, or yesterday was the first day. You don't have to wear masks. Restaurants, if they want to, can have full capacity. And I have seen no change. Last week I saw a lady in a convenience store without a mask. I think she just ran in real quick to get a lottery ticket. It's not making any difference. And from what I'm hearing in Austin, the mayor of Austin is saying, well, we already have a mask mandate, so I don't care what the governor says, we're going to keep going with that, because he's a Democrat. And so it's become a real political thing. So now people are wearing their masks more in the cars, just as a political statement, like, fuck you, I'm gonna wear my mask and be a slave. So basically nothing's changed, and in fact, from what I understand, it seems like people are telling me in Austin, at least, people are wearing their masks even more. So, well, what can I say? Let's stop the stereo, because it's time to go downstairs and see what's shaking down there on floor 6 of the Gratu Orloff International Building of Trade. Turn off this ghastly, hellish light. Well, okay. Hopefully this is providing better light for the Gratu Orloff television program. Oh, shit. But I will, I'll probably be back tomorrow, mid-afternoon or tomorrow morning, and we'll go through this other box. So I'll be seeing you.